distribution between $60 to $80. And you can see that when we say discrete uniform, so basically the increment, it will increment by $1. Okay? The variable cost per tie vary each month, so that the average profit margin per tie will vary too. So when we see the word vary, so it means that basically we're gonna have to simulate it. The estimated profit margin per tie follow a continuous uniform distribution between 20 to 30% of the selling price. Okay, fixed cost of stocking and selling tires is $2,000 per month. Okay, so basically we have information about the demand, and then we can calculate the selling price, the profit, and also the cost. So at the end, we can calculate the profit for this company. Okay. So when you can see that when we have several steps that we need to perform in order to calculate profit, then it might be a good idea to start kind of drafting the flow chart of what we have to do for the calculation, so that when we go to Excel, we can easily develop the model. So you can see that basically we're talking about each month, right? So we start with setting the month number equal to 1, and then the first thing we're going to do is we simulate the demand for that month. Okay, once you know the demand, then you can simulate the average selling price for that month, simulate the average profit margin. Once we have all the information here, we can calculate the profit for that month. Okay, and then once we're done with the first month, we increase n, the number of months, by 1. If the number of months is to be simulated is still less than the number of months that we want to simulate, then we go back and we do the simulation. So that means repeating the simulation. Okay, we have to specify like how many number of months that we want to simulate, and we keep repeating that until we get the number of simulation that we want. Okay, once we're done with that, then we calculate the summary statistic. Okay, so in this example, okay, you can see that the whole model, okay, can be developed within just one line. Okay, so I'll show you the Excel for that, and then you can take a look at the PowerPoint slide. Okay. So let's go to Harry Auto Profit Model. Okay. In this example, you can see that the first tab is the formula wheel. So basically, you can take a look at how they develop the formula. Okay. The second tab, 10-2B, this one is actually the model. Okay, so you can take a look at this one first. Okay, so for the model, you can see that the way that they use the color coded. So again, the yellow highlight indicate that this is the information that you have to manually input. Okay, which is the demand and the probability of happening. Okay, and then you will see the blue highlight. The blue highlight is the cell that you have to simulate the information. Okay, we have to simulate the demand, simulate the selling price, and simulate the profit margin. Okay, and the last one, the green cell. This one is basically the output cell. Okay, the result, and you can see that it will be based on the formula. Okay, so how do we simulate the demand? First, we generate a random number. Remember, right? So we generate a random number. You get 0.507. So what Excel do again? Okay. So for the demand, this time, note that the formula that we use, we can just use lookup formula. Okay. Last time we used VLOOKUP, and VLOOKUP based on the column. But this time we can just simply use the word lookup. Okay, and then just specify strictly, okay, what number, what column that we want it to look up. So you can see that the lookup, okay, so 0.507, we look up the A4, so this is a lookup number, okay, and then you have K4 to K9. This is the distribution, so the lookup number will compare with this, okay, K4 to K9, and then the last one, the purple one, this is the result that you will simulate, which is the demand information. That makes sense? So what they do is they get 0.507 compared to column K, so it will go down. Okay, so 0.507, so it go down, and then they find 0.65. That's more than 0.57. So it's go back one row, and then take the information from column I, which is 360. That's how they generate the demand of 360. That makes sense? Okay. Once we know the demand, we have to calculate, generate the selling price. The selling price follow discrete uniform distribution, okay, from 60 to 80. So you can see that we can easily use the formula ran between, okay? And then the profit, okay? The profit is continuous uniform distribution, okay, with the from 20% to 30%. So with this one, if you want to do the continuous uniform distribution, you're going to have to type in the formula, which is the lower number plus parenthesis upper number minus the lower number, and then multiply by the random number. Okay, so in here we generate random number and then plug in this random number into the formula to calculate the profit. So we get we can simulate the profit, which is in this case 29.86, and then the fixed cost is fixed at 2,000. Okay. After that, okay, we calculate the profit. So the profit is basically from the demand multiplied by the selling price multiplied by profit margin, and then minus 2,000 of the fixed cost. Okay, and then we get the profit. That makes sense for everybody? Okay, that's very simple, right? And now we are already simulate the profit. But as we know, simulate only one time doesn't really give you meaningful information, right? Because it's all depend on the random number that we generate. So we have to simulate more, okay? So my question to you is, if you want to simulate more, what can you do? Right? You can see that in this one, quite simple. The whole model is only one row, right? So a lot of you may be tempting to say, okay, we can just copy it, right? I mean, you can easily copy it, okay? So to how many number that you want, right? And this is all like each row represent different replication of your simulation, because everything is the same, only the random number is different. Okay, so we can do that. However, if your model is bigger, it's not just only one line, then it becomes difficult to just copy and paste, right? So I'll put this one back. Okay, so this column, okay, 10-2B1 is the one that we just copied. However, take note that I haven't fixed this one yet. Okay. When you simply drag the formula, okay, the fixed cost change. So actually it had to be 2,000, okay, for all of this. Okay, so please make note of it or make change of it. Okay, otherwise this will not be correct because fixed costs keep changing. Okay, so that one of the mistakes that you have to be careful if you just doing the copy and paste. Okay, the better way, okay, so from this, okay, the better way to replicate the information or replicate the simulation that you have, Excel has the function called data table. Okay, we can use Excel to just simulate the number for us, okay, the number that we want. Okay, so what it will look like, okay, I'll show you first and then we will do it together. Okay, so you have, again, this is your model. Okay, so this is your model, right? Okay, so once you have it, okay, what the result that we want is the profit. right? So I mean, at the end, our objective is to generate the profit, okay, simulate the profit. So, and if we want to simulate 200 times, okay, if we want to simulate 200 times, we can easily use data table to do it. Okay, it's a lot easier than trying to replicate, copy and paste all the model. It's just kill some, take time, and it will require more memory. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we will use the data table, and what the data table do is that what we do is, okay, if you take a look at the first run, it will use the first run number, right? So once it generates the second run, so basically it will just regenerate the random number or the simulated number, get the new number, and record it for you. And then once they're done with the second one, they do the third one, record the information, do the fourth one, and record the information. So you can see that this is a lot easier comparing to what we have to do by hand. Okay, so this is the outcome that we're gonna get if we want to simulate 200 times. Okay, so how do we do that? First, let's click on the data table, any cell that have green highlight. Okay, starting from the run 2, you will notice that, okay, there's the bracket again. Okay, this showing that the data table is an array. Okay, if you want to delete just only one number, okay, it will not allow you to do that. Okay, you can try deleting it, it will not allow you to do so. However, if you want to delete the whole thing, let's do it together. Just delete the whole thing and we're gonna regenerate it. Okay, so we delete it, all right? So what we're gonna do is, first, okay, the first row or the first run, you're gonna have to tell Excel which number, okay, or which cell that you want as a result. And it's gonna be the result cell, the one that comes from the formula, right? So we're gonna say it's equal to G4. Okay, so put G4 in there. Okay, and then after that, to use the data table, so you just keep in mind that for this one, run number, this one, it has nothing to do with data table. It's just for us to know, okay, this what is the run number. Okay, it has nothing to do with it because data table only concerned about filling information here. Okay. And then to use the data table, okay, we can use the, we can go to the data tab, okay, and find what if analysis. Okay. Before we do that, I'm sorry. So when we're gonna start doing the data table, the first thing you need to do is you put in the formula, right? And then we're gonna highlight, okay, all the column that, all the cell that we want data table to generate the number, okay? And we're gonna do from cell N4, okay, so N and O, and then go down to 200 replication that we're looking for. Okay, so highlight all of them. Okay, so highlight all of them, starting from N4, okay, the first row. And then click what if analysis. There will be 3 things here: scenario manager, GoSeek, and data table. Today we will talk about data table and scenario manager. GoSeek is I would say it's a simple optimization that Excel can do. Okay, it can only have one object, one variable. Anyway, so go to data table. Okay, once you go to data table, okay, it's very simple. Row input cell, don't put anything in there because everything we work on based on the column. Okay, column input cell. Okay, for column input cell, you can select any cell that is not related to your work at all. So any empty cell. Okay, just click on any empty cell, it's fine. Okay, but don't click on any cell that you use for your model. Okay, and then once you're done with that, click OK. And it will just pop up the number for you. Okay, so everybody get that? Okay, so you can see that it's quite quick. Okay. Okay, let me repeat it again in case you don't follow. Okay, so let me try it again. So I'll delete the whole thing. Okay, so what you do first, okay, you can set up the table like this if you want, so it will be easier for you to see which run number. And then what you do is you have to specify the output that you want. Okay, so just specify the sales profit. Okay, this one is from your model. Okay, so you can see this is your model. This is a result of the model. This one is just for replication and record the output. Okay, so G4. And then, okay, you highlight, okay, N and O, okay, column N and column O starting from row 4 down to the end that you want, 200 replication. Okay, once you're done with that, go to data tab. That's the word what if analysis. Go to data table. Nothing on row input cell, column input cell, any cell is fine, the one that you don't use. And then click OK. You'll get the number. Anyone getting the data table generated, but the profit is the same number. Okay, so you probably have that. Okay, if your profit is you get 200 profit, but it's all the same number. The reason is that in your formula tab, go to calculation option, it's still in manual. Okay, if it's in manual mode, it cannot do anything, it will just give you the same number. Okay, so change that when you use data table, you have to change to automatic. Okay, and redo the calculation. That makes sense? Okay, so at least you know if you encounter a problem, usually it's probably because of the manual setting. Okay? All right, and from this information, now we simulate 200 times of the profit that we think gonna happen per month. Okay, take a look at here. Okay, based on 200 replication. Now you can calculate summary statistic that you are interested in. Okay, in this one, you can calculate average monthly profit. This is basically average of the 200 times. Okay, and then standard deviation, we can easily use the standard deviation formula from Excel to calculate that. Okay? Another thing that people are usually interested, not only the average profit that they're gonna get, but sometimes you may have your target in mind. For example, you think that you want your profit to be at least $4,000 per month or more. Okay, so when we do the simulation like this, we can calculate the probability that we will have the profit at this value or higher than this value. So instead of just simple plain average, now you know the probability of something that can happen, right? So in this case, what you do is you can count, okay, out of the 200 times, how many times that our profit is 4,000 or more, okay? You're familiar with the equation formula? You don't have to count by yourself. You can use the formula called count if. Okay, so basically, it will only count if the value or if this is true. Okay, so basically you say that count if, okay, or the profit here, if it more equal to or more than 4,000. So anything that equal to or more than 4,000 will be counted. So each time it's just one. So it's just accumulated. And we find that 130 times, we will have profit of 4,000 or more. With that, we simulate 200 times, so we can easily calculate the probability that we will have the monthly profit of 4,000 or more. That makes sense? Okay, so hopefully this will give you more information. okay, about the likelihood of things that happen. Because for some of you, you might say, oh, only 50%, 60%, not as much as you expect. And it might not be good. We have to do something. Okay? All right? This makes sense for everybody? Okay? And if you want to Excel to help calculate some more statistics, okay, we can use the data analysis tool pack to help. Okay, we'll do it quickly. Okay, so let's go to data analysis again. Okay, this time we will choose descriptive statistics. Okay, so it can calculate some simple statistics for us. Click OK. It will ask you for the input range. So just highlight the 200 cell that you have as the profit. Okay. And then check the summary statistic and confidence interval. Everybody stick with me? Okay, so put the input range or the profit number, 200 cell. Okay, and then check on summary statistic and the confidence level for me. Okay, still familiar with the confidence interval? Okay, and then we click OK. Okay, once you click OK, it will give you the new sheet with some statistic information that you calculate based on the profit data that you give. So it will give you the mean, okay, standard deviation also, but it will give you also the standard error, the median, normal calculated, okay, the skew net and everything, maximum, minimum, whatsoever. Okay, so it gives you more information. The one that usually be useful to us, okay, is the confidence level. Okay, remember we did talk about precision of the simulation we saw, right? So this one, what does it tell you? So basically, okay, all we can say about the profit for this company is that, okay, we know the average, okay, and then, so basically, we can say that, let me show you. The profit of this company, okay, we cannot really say that it's 4,267. All we can say is that the profit will fall within the confidence interval. Okay, the confidence interval coming from mean plus or minus this confidence level. So basically, we can only say that we are 90% confident that the profit will fall, will be between 4,129 to 4,405. This is what we can say. Okay, we don't know anything better than this, but we're pretty sure that 95% of the time, the profit will be this within this two number. That makes sense? Yes.
Can you repeat how to get into this page?
Repeat it, which one?
Can you repeat how to get into this page?
Oh, how to get into this page?
Yes, I lost after you said go to data analysis.
Okay, so you have this, right? So we go to the data analysis, okay? And then go to descriptive statistic, okay? Then click OK. It asks you for the input, so put in all the 200 number here. And be sure to click check summary statistic and the confidence level for me. Okay? You have all the two? Okay, then click OK to generate a number for you. It's working? Okay, good. All right? These two numbers, you okay, right? So basically, you can see that all we can say is that we think that the profit will fall within mean plus or minus the confidence level. So this number becomes very important, okay? Because it will determine the precision of your answer, right? For this one, not that bad, but still not good. Because basically, okay, your profit will vary, okay? About what? 138 divided by 4,200. It's about 3%. Okay, so not bad. But some of you might say, oh, I want it to be more precise. If you want more precision, you have to make this number smaller, right? If this number is smaller, let's say this number from 138 become 10. If it become 10, what will happen? You will say that, oh, my profit will be between what? 4,257 to about 2,477. It's very, very precise. You see what I mean? So to make this number, 138, smaller, what would you do? You have to run more simulation or more replication. Okay, when you run more and more and more, this number will be smaller so that the precision will be higher. Okay, we'll try that again when we do simulation in ARINET. Okay, so that we can try, like, if we run more replication, what will happen? Okay, but just for now, just get the theory that if you run more, it will be confidence interval will be smaller, so your number or your result will be more precise. Okay, and how precise you want? Depend on our objective, right? For some of you might say plus or minus 3%, no big deal. Okay, but for something, you might say it had to be exactly, or maybe like only plus or minus 1 difference, something like that. So it's up to you. Okay, just keep in mind that if you want more precision, it means that you're gonna have to run more replication, so it's taking longer time. All right, everybody okay with this example? Yes.
How can we get the 3%?
How can we get the 3%? Oh, just doing 138 divided by 4,267. So basically, just try to see like the variation against the average, okay, to see like how bad it is. Okay, 3% not that bad though. All right, any other question? Good. If not, then we will move on to another model. This one will start to be some model that is not just a static number, because you can see that with this one, once we're done, it's just not a static number, nothing related that, sequential or anything. It's just we calculate and simulate the number. But a lot of time in business, this is just enough, right? We just want to simulate the demand, simulate the budget that we have, what will be the profit. That's enough. But if you start working on the process improvement or something related to the process, then this is not enough. We usually, when we talk about process, mean that something happened will have the impact on other things. Okay, so when you do the simulation, it's usually much more complex. Okay, so let's take a look at the model that, supposed to be simple. It could be complex when we use Excel. Okay, the third example that we're gonna talk about is the simulation for a queuing problem. Okay, you study about queuing theory using the formula before. So now let's take a look at how, if we're gonna simulate the queue. We want to know the waiting time. Okay, so how do we simulate that? This one is very simple. It's the queue at the bank. So then the saving bank attempt to improve customer satisfaction. Okay, so they know that basically customers willing to wait on average no longer than 2 minutes, and the average queue length should be 2 or fewer customers. That's kind of like the target that they're looking for. Okay, but first we're gonna try to simulate and see what is the performance of this bank so far. The bank find that on average they will have 150 customers coming to the bank each day. Okay, they collect the data for the service time. How long does it take when the customer get the service from the teller? Okay, so service time is either 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes with the probability here. Okay, and also they collect the data about the customer. Okay, they say 150 customers coming in each day. However, when we simulate, we still have to simulate when they're gonna come, right? We cannot just say, oh, customer gonna come every 1 minute. That's not true, right? So what they do is they collect the data let's say 150 customer. Okay, just do the timestamp. Okay, the first one when they're gonna when they arrive, the second one, and so on. From that, okay, with the timestamp of the arrival time, okay, they calculate time between arrival. Okay, time between arrival means that it's the time that, let's say, the second customer come after the first customer. So how long does it take? Okay, and then the third, how long does it take before they come starting from when the second customer come. The reason that we have to use time between arrival to simulate the time the customer is gonna come because it's easier. Just once you simulate the first customer that come at this time, then you can simulate the time between arrival and then just plus and then get the next customer. You will see it in Excel. Okay. If we just simply use the time that they arrive, just the stamp time, it will be difficult to simulate. We don't really get the new number. Okay? Okay, so setting up the model, you have it all here with the formula, but we will go to Excel to take a look at it. Please go to Excel model called Denton Savings Bank. Everybody has it? Okay. So this one, you can see that this is a model that they have. Okay. On the right here, in the middle, you can see that there are two types of the number that or variable that we have to simulate. In the arrival time or time between arrival and the service time. Okay, and both of them are based on the probability. So you can see that we set up the same way, doing the probability distribution, and then we will use Excel to do the lookup, okay, to simulate the number. Okay, and then for queuing, usually we start with what? Customer come in, so the number we plug in the number of customer. We're gonna simulate 150 customer. Okay, as we see that this is the average number of customer that coming into the bank. Okay, and then how do we know that when the customer gonna come? This is when we simulate time between arrival. Okay, so from the first one to the second one, what is the time between arrival? So we can just add up the number, so it will be easier. Okay, and you can see that for time between arrival, we have the probability distribution. So basically, we have to generate a random number and do the lookup. And you can see that, in fact, you can just do it within one cell. You don't even have to have extra column for the random number. Okay, if you take a look here, then you will see that the lookup, and then the first variable, they just put the rand formula in there. Okay, so instead of having to put the random number in another cell and do the lookup, you can just plug in the random number. Okay, and then the rest is the same. Okay, compare the random number with the lower limit interval. Okay, and give the number as the time, column J. Okay, time between arrival. Okay. The good thing about this one is that the model is very compact. The bad thing is you have no idea what random number that it generates, and you have just to rely that on be sure that your formula is correct, right? Because you have no idea to trace it. Okay, the random number is just calculated internally in Excel. Okay, but if you use if you put it somewhere else, okay, in other cell, then you can easily see what it generates and whether we get the correct number or not. Okay, but if you are really sure that your model is correct, then no problem. Okay, so what we do here is that, okay, let's say that at the beginning, they put everything as 0, right? So it's kind of like, when the bank closed, nothing is in there. Nobody, no customer, and no teller, everybody is available, okay? So what we do is, for customer number 1, so they go together, we simulate time between arrival. The time between arrival is 4. This means that the arrival time of the first customer, okay, is the time, the arrival time of the previous customer plus the time between arrival that we have. So 0 plus 4, you get 4. Okay? And now, the second thing, once the customer comes, now we have to simulate whether they can get the service right away or not. Right? At the beginning, this one we assume that we have only one server or one teller. Right? So the first customer, obviously, they can get in and get service right away. Right? So the start service is actually the arrival time. But if you take a look at the formula, okay, we put max, okay, arrival time, compare with the end service of the previous customer. Why? Let me show you this one. 19. Okay, let's take a look at customer number 6. He actually come at time 19, okay, but the start service, okay, is not 19. The reason is that the previous customer will end service at 20. That's why we use the function max, right? The max number between end service of previous one and the arrival time of the current one. Okay, that makes sense? Okay, so now we start service. Let's say go back to the first customer. You start service at 4, time 4. Then you simulate the service time. This one using the lookup again for service time distribution. Okay, let's say we get 2. So with this, we know that if we start the service at 4, service time is 2. So the service will end at 6 times 6. Okay, that makes sense? Okay, wait time and queue length, I'll show you later. Okay, but what happened here is that, okay, if the first one ends at 6, right, the second customer gonna come at what time? So arrival time of the previous customer plus, okay, plus the time between arrival. So this is 4 plus 3 then, you got 7. Start service, you can start at 7 because end service is already 6, so it's already end. So you can start your service. Okay, so it's times 1. So basically end service at 8. Okay, just this. Everybody okay with this? Okay, so you just follow. And you can see that whatever happened with the first customer, it will have impact on the second one and so on. And also the service time. Okay, and then we will continue doing the simulation. But let's take a look at the one that we start to have the queue to see how we calculate the wait time and the queue length. Okay? So for the wait time, simple, right? So the wait time is basically, okay, take a look at their arrival time, okay, compare with when they start the service. So start service minus the arrival time will give you the wait time. That makes sense? Okay, so if you don't have to be in queue, it will always be 0 because you can start service right at your arrival time. Okay, but this one, customer 5, arrival time is 16, but he can start service at 17. That's why the wait time is 1. Okay, that makes sense for everybody? Okay, and you will have the formula, okay, right in your PowerPoint slide. Okay, the tricky thing here is that you can see that Excel is not designing to do the queuing model or whatsoever. So to calculate the wait time, you have to figure out the formula or the equation that you're going to use. And it's getting worse for the queue length. Excel doesn't have anything to calculate the queue length for you. You just have to figure out, okay, how do we get the number that will make the calculation give you the queue length? Okay, but next week we'll go to Arena. Okay, that one is designing for process modeling. So it would just easily give you the queue waiting time, the queue length, or whatsoever that related to process performance. Okay, but Excel we can still do that, and that's the reason that I give you the model to take a look at. Because I mean, if we try to figure out by ourselves and calculate the whole thing, it just takes too much time. And it's more prone to error. Because if you have the queuing, simple queuing like this, you can easily use this model and just, changing some variable, some number to be reflecting to your situation. Okay, but the the process, the flow is pretty much the same anyway. Okay? Okay, now let's take a look at how do we calculate queue length. Okay, so just click on the formula, one of the cells that have queue. Okay, you will see that, okay, in this one, bring it out here. Okay, now everything changed, I'm sorry. Haven't really loved it. But anyway, so you can see that one of the important formula here is the function match. Okay, it's a function match. And then basically it's just A9 is just a number of customers. So I'll tell you later why. But the function match. So basically what we are trying to do here to calculate the queue length is that we will use the function match. What function match do for us? Let me briefly tell you here first. Then we can use go to help us. Okay. Function match, actually we can use it to determine how many customers up to the current one. Okay, so how many customers that have start time that are smaller than the arrival time of the current customer. Okay, so basically we just want to count the number of customers who has start time smaller than the arrival time of the current customer. Okay, and any customer that does not meet in this criteria is basically in the queue. Why? Let's go back. Okay, sorry my number changed, but anyway, so let's take a look here. Okay, so basically this customer, okay, with the function match, okay, so what we would see here is that arrival time of this customer is 5, right? So what we try to do is we try to look at the customer, okay, before him up to this, okay, compare the start time. You can see that this customer number 1 start time is 1, start time is 4. So these two customers, the start time is lower than the arrival time of this the third customer, right? So the function match will return number 2 for you. Okay, so it will return number 2 for you. And how do we know how many people is in the queue? Anyone that doesn't match, doesn't follow this rule. So that's why we have A7, the customer number. Now we have 3 customers. And the 2 customers already, it's the one that has the start time smaller than the arrival time. So 3 minus 2, you will get 1. Okay, so let me, sorry, I'll do so in this one, right, this customer is number 3, right? And then the function match. Okay, so let me show you just the function match here. Okay. So the function match will give you 2 because there are 2 customers that have the start time lower than 5. That makes sense? And then to know how many people that is not within this criteria, we know that we have 3 customers. So that's why we have A7 minus the match number, so we get 1. Okay? So I know this one is like, you heard, come on, how do we know that? Right? I mean, it takes time to figure out what formula that we can use to kind of get the number that we want. Okay, so don't worry that I'm not going to ask you to like generating new formula to get to something that you want. We're just going to stick with, the simple thing that we learned here. Okay, so let's take a look at customer number 5 to make it more interesting, because customer number 5, the queue length is 2. Okay, so customer number 5, arrival time is 9, right? And the function match, we will count how many customer, okay, from 1 to 5 that has the start service time, okay, less than 9. Okay, and you see that basically we have only 3 customers that their start time is lower than 9, right? So this means that for our function here, it's 5 minus 3. That's why we know 2 customer is still in the queue. Okay, because customer number 4 start time is 10, so it's more than that. 13 is more than that. So that's why we know there's 2 customers in the queue. That makes sense for everybody? Okay. All right, and then basically this is all the formula. You just let Excel generate all the number. Okay, then you're done. And you can see that normally the way we arrange the model, okay, because for this bank we want to know the average wait time and the average queue length. So what we do is we count the last 2 columns, wait time and queue length. We get the number and then we just do the average. Okay, average of the 150 customer. And again, if we get this is only based on 1 replication, 1 day basically, right? And we said every day could be different depending on the random number. So again, this one we want to simulate 200 replication, or basically 200 days that we have 150 customers. So the way we do that, we can use data table again. Okay. So everybody okay with the data table? Okay, I think you can go back and try it at home so that we can try to finish on time. Okay, but it's just basically the same. Okay, just use the just put in the result or the output cell and do the same way as we did before. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that. I think everybody should be okay. And then you're gonna move on to the last one. Okay, the inventory model. Okay, this one is kind of the same. That it's not just done in just one simple calculation, because whatever inventory that we have will have an impact on the inventory level that we have to supply the demand, and then we can reorder to replenish the inventory. So I think a little bit more complex. Okay, so let's move on to the last model. Okay, which is the inventory problem. Okay, so for this one, okay, for inventory problem, as you're familiar with in supply chain management, we basically looking for answering the question, how much to order and when to order. Okay, so we're gonna try to answer that. And we need to simulate the demand. So again, okay, we take a look at the historical data for the demand. This is the demand for the SBREW, so only 0 to 5 for each day. We collect the data for 300 days, so we get the probability distribution. For the lead time, once we place the order, it will take time for supplier to replenish the product for us. The lead time follow discrete uniform distribution between 1 and 3 days. So we will simulate that. Currently, the store has 7 electric deals in stock, and there are no order deals, so nothing gonna come in. Okay, we have only 7. The owner want to determine the order quantity and the reorder point. Okay, and to calculate that, we want the order quantity and reorder point that will give us that will lower our cost. So we have to know the cost, right? The fixed order cost $20 per order, holding cost 2 cents per drill per day, and then stock out cost $8 per drill. Okay, assume that this shop operates 25 days each month. So we're gonna simulate the inventory for 25 days, okay, for 1 month. And as you know, simulation cannot really tell you what will be the best, the order point or order quantity. So we're gonna start with trying to simulate with the quantity of 10. So every time we place the order, the quantity will be 10, and the reorder point will be 5. Okay, that's what we're gonna try. For inventory problem, again, you're gonna have to simulate several things. So it might be a good idea to drafting the flow chart about what we're gonna have to do. Okay, so you can see here, we're gonna begin simulation, and think of in real life. When you start, let's say you open up your shop, okay, the first thing that usually comes is we're gonna receive the order. Anything that we place the order and it due, we're gonna receive the order at the beginning of the day. Okay? If we receive the order, we increase the inventory level that we have to sell for that day. Okay? If not, then we go directly to generate the demand. Okay? So think of it, we receive the order, the next thing, the demand comes. So in this one, we're gonna generate the demand. Okay, simulate the demand. And then once we know the demand, we have to take a look whether the demand is more than the inventory level that we have or not. Okay, if it's not more than the inventory that we have, we just deduct the inventory that we have, right? That means that we sell to the customer. However, if the demand is higher than the inventory that we have, it means that we have stock out. So we're gonna have to record the number of lost sales or the number of stock out. Okay? And once we have stock out, for sure, your inventory will become zero. Right? Anytime you have stock out occur, you have no inventory on hand. Okay? If you have enough, then you just deduct the inventory. Okay? And then let's go down here. Okay? So once you have the new ending inventory, okay, you take a look whether in ending inventory is less than the reorder point or not. Because if it's less than the reorder point, we're gonna have to place the order, right? If it's not less than the reorder point, okay, we just simulate again for the next day until we reach 25 days. If we don't have, if the inventory level is lower than the reorder point, okay, before we decide to place the order, another thing that we have to check is that even though the inventory level is below reorder point, but have we ordered anything and it doesn't come or it doesn't arrive yet? Like, I'll show you later, but it's kind of like, you place the order in previous day and and your inventory level still go down, right? So this day, your inventory level is also lower than the reorder point, but you know that you already placed the order, so it's gonna come. In that case, we're not gonna place multiple order. Okay, we're gonna wait until we get the replenishment before we we place another order. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. And if we place the order, another thing that we have to simulate is how long does it take, the lead time. Okay, so if we place the order, we're gonna simulate the lead time. So that's kind of the idea of our model. Again, you can find an Excel file that have all the information in here. Okay, so for this one, I'm just gonna point out only the one that we haven't seen before. Okay, the simple lookup or any uniform distribution. I'm gonna skip that. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to sinking inventory. Okay. Okay, again, you can see the demand here because it's based on the distribution, probability distribution, so we set up the same way. Another interesting thing to point out here, this is a decision variable, order quantity and reorder point, right? This is the one that you're gonna make decision. So now we assume that order quantity is 10 and reorder point is 5. And we put it here so that we can easily make changes. Okay? For the lead time, this is the information to simulate the lead time with uniform distribution. Okay, again, you can just put in minimum and maximum number. And then we have the cost. Okay, so we put it as a fixed number here. Okay? Alright, so what will happen if we simulate the inventory? Okay, start with the first day. We know that we have beginning inventory of 7, right? So we keep it at 7. Okay, unit receipt, we don't have it yet, but just assume that, okay, right now we don't have it. So basically, available inventory is the beginning inventory plus available plus unit receipt. This is what we have at the beginning of the day. Okay, so we have to set this up. Okay, I'll show you later when we have unit receipt what will happen. Okay. Okay, and then once we have available inventory, okay, now the demand comes. So you simulate the demand. Okay, this one demand is 4. Okay, So what you do is, we have the column called demand fill. Okay, so basically telling you how much demand you can fill, and you can see that the formula is minimum of available inventory and the demand. Why do we have to do that? Because if the demand is lower, like this, lower than available inventory, you can only fill as much as the demand. But let's say if the demand is higher than the inventory that you have, should be somewhere, right? Okay, let's scroll down here. Okay, the demand is 3, available inventory is 1. So now you can fill only 1. That makes sense? Okay, so you can see that a lot of time it's more like the if question. Okay, but in Excel, you're gonna have to put in the formula. That is not the if formula, okay, to get it done. So that's the demand fill, okay? And then you have ending inventory, okay? So ending inventory basically is available inventory, 7, minus the demand, okay, which is 4. So basically ending inventory is 3. However, take a look that we also have function max in here. Okay, because ending inventory cannot be negative number, right? So we just say that, okay, if the available inventory is lower than the demand, it will become 0. Okay, that's just that's what happened. Again, if you go down here, okay, available inventory is 1, demand is 3. So basically 1 minus 3 is minus 2. So with function max, it gives you 0 inventory. Okay? Okay, ending inventory now. So stock out. Stock out is basically the formula that we use. So you can see that it's basically the demand minus the available inventory. So if and we have function max again. So basically for this one, demand is lower than available inventory. So 4 minus 7, you get minus 3. That's why it shows 0 stock out. Okay, but if you go down, this one, 3 demand minus available inventory of 1, that's 2. So you get 2 as a stock out. Okay? And then, now we know ending inventory, we know stock out that we have. Now we're going to decide whether we have to place the order or not. Okay? You can see here that it's the ending inventory plus the order. Okay? So you can see that this one, basically we have only ending inventory of 3. Okay, nothing on order yet. I'll show you the other one when we place the order, but this one is 3, and you know that the reorder point is 5. So we can see that we have column J, deciding whether we should place the order or not. Okay, so what it do, you can see that it use function if, okay, if ending inventory plus order is less than the reorder point, which you put here 5. So this one is 3 is less than 5. That's why we will place the order. Okay, so if it ending inventory is less than the reorder point, it will give you the number 1. Okay, so order or not, it will be either 1 or 0. Okay, if it's 1, then we're gonna start to simulate the lead time. So you can see that the lead time is the uniform, discrete uniform, okay, between 1 to 3. This is a simple formula. But notice that they put the function if in here. Why? Because they have to check. If we place the order, it will become 1, right? 1, and then that's why we calculate we simulate the lead time. But if column J becomes 0, we will just keep the 0 for the lead time because we're not going to use it. That makes sense? Okay? Once we know the lead time, now we will know when the order will arrive. Right? So if you take a look here, okay, we know that if J is equal to 1, which means we place the order, okay, the arrival date will be the current date, okay, A4, which is 1, okay, plus the lead time and plus 1, because we order at the end of the day. Okay, it's take another 2 days, okay, so this means that on the in the morning of day 4, that's when it arrives. Make sense? Okay, so it shows you that it's day 4. Okay, now let's take a look at how we work out on the unit receipt. Okay, so we have the inventory arrived on day 4, right? So this means that on day 4, the unit receipt has to become 10 because our order quantity is 10. Okay, so how do we do the formula? You can see that. Okay, first of all, we do the count if. Okay, we do the count if on column L, arrive on day. Okay, so we count which how many. Okay, on column L that has the same number as day 4. Okay, because the count if, and you can see A7, this is day 4, and then we count, okay, how many of this that has the day 4, number 4, and you can see that it will be only 1, okay, but if you take a look up here on day 3, okay, there's no arrive on day 3, so that's why it shows 0, okay, but on day 4, you will see that once you start counting, you will see that, oh, one day that will have that match with the current date. So it will return 1, right? Count if you get only 1. 1 multiplied by order quantity. That's when you get 10. That makes sense? Okay, so that's how you do it. Again, if you are on day 5 and you start counting, the number that is on day 5, that's 0. That's why day 5 has 0 unit receipt. But if you are on day 7, again, you're counting, you will see that, oh, we have one number 7. So 1 multiplied by 10, you get 10. That makes sense? So it's kind of like, it's just like this, the way that we do the calculation. But you will see that all inventory problem will follow the same step anyway. Okay, so you can easily use the available model and then adjust for the number or the variable that you have. Okay, and with this, at the end, it just calculates the cost for you. Okay, so cost is just a multiplication. Okay, holding cost multiplied with the ending inventory. Stock out cost again multiplied with the stock out and so on. And then you can get the total cost down here. So this is a total cost for one replication. Okay? That makes sense for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go a little bit quicker. I'm sorry, we're a little bit over time, but I think it might be better to try to finish it than leave it. Okay, so the second one that we can do is we can again do the data table. Okay, and we can, because now we have 4 output variable: holding cost, stock out cost, order cost, and total cost. So we can use the data table to calculate all of it. Again, we do that for 200 replication. Okay, I think this one everybody should be okay with it. Okay, however, you will see that now we want to try to explore and see what will be a good order quantity and a reorder point that will lower our cost, right? One way that you can do is you just change the order point and reorder order quantity and reorder point here and do recalculate and record the number. Okay, but that will take time, right? Because we have to do it one by one. And one of the functions that Excel can help you, okay, not perfect, but I think it's good enough. It's called Scenario Manager. Okay, so instead of plugging in the number here by ourselves, we can tell Excel that we want to try this set of number, and then let Excel run and show us the result. Okay, so what we're going to do is, okay, we're going to try doing the Scenario Manager. Before doing that, make sure that you go to Formula tab, Calculation option, put it on Automatic. Otherwise, it will just give you the same number. Okay, so put it on Automatic at the Calculation option. Okay, and then once you're ready, okay, we're gonna go to Data tab, and then go to What If Analysis again. Go to Scenario Manager. Okay, in here, I actually put in some of the scenario that I would like you guys to try. So basically I said Q8, so that quantity of 8, reorder point of 5. Quantity of 8, reorder point of 8. But we'll try putting one more scenario in. Okay, so if you want to put more scenario in, just click add. It will ask you to tell the scenario name. So you can follow the same name scheme that I use. So let's say if we want quantity to be 15 and the reorder point of 10 maybe. I don't know. Just try it. And okay, we have scenario name here. The important one that is already set here, you have to know, is the changing cell. So basically, the number that you're going to change, you have to tell them which cell, which is basically, you can see T11 and T12 is the order quantity and the reorder point. That makes sense? Okay, so Excel has to know that. Then we click OK. Once we click OK, it will ask you for the scenario value. Okay, so I have order quantity of 15 and the reorder point of 10. So you put it in there. Okay, and you can create as much scenario as you want. Okay, then click OK. Okay, once you click OK, now you can see that your scenario is now in the scenario manager. Okay, once you're done with that, now we're gonna go to the summary. Just to check, the summary is the result cell that you want it to generate. Right, so basically it's the 4 type of cost that we have. Okay, and you can see that we use the cell that based on 200 replication. So this means that we expect the scenario manager to run using data table, replicate 200 times for each scenario. That makes sense? Okay, if we don't use this one, okay, this one is just one replication. Okay, we use this one so that it will rerun the whole thing for 200 times and then generate the result for us. Okay? Then you click OK. It might take some time. You might be faster. Okay. Alright. Everybody get the result? Or still running? Okay. Give it some time. If your number is all the same, it's because you are in manual mode, not automatic calculation option. Alright, everybody get the result? Not yet? Okay, so you're probably competing on each other. Anyway, you can take a look at mine first, and then you can wait until it's done. You will see that the scenario summary, it will show you, okay, this is the scenario name that we put in, right? We have Q15, R10. And then changing cell, T11 and T12. So you can see that it will show you, okay, for this scenario, what is the number that you try or you put in. And then the result cell, or the cost. Okay, the last row is the total cost. Okay, so basically, we can use this and compare the total cost. That makes sense? And then we can say, okay, which scenario that we think is better. In this case, I think, yeah, our new scenario is even better than others. Okay? However, just be careful that sometimes the number might be pretty close, so it's sometimes difficult to really say whether it's really different or not. Okay? And one thing to take note, you'll see that the current value, this is when we have reorder point of 10 and, quantity of 10, reorder point of 5. And then we have scenario that have quantity of 10 and reorder point of 5. And you will see that the number is not exactly the same. Because every time Excel runs simulation, it uses different random number. As you can see, it's all over. Any random number is never the same. That's why, even though you run the same scenario, the number could be different. However, keep in mind that this is the average number. So the actual number is quite varied. And if you really test for the different, 219 and 222 may not be significant different anyway. Okay, we don't have the standard deviation information to test, but just for you to know, okay? Because I mean, in the simulation software, it will give you more information than just the average number, because they realize that you need a confidence interval, you need minimum and maximum number. But for Excel, it just, as I tell you earlier, it doesn't really decide for simulation, but it has the function that it can do. So a lot of things we're gonna have to do it by ourselves if we want some more information, some more result. For example, we need to use the descriptive statistic to do the calculation for us for confidence interval and so on. Okay, but I mean for simple stuff, it's useful anyway, because I mean Excel is available in most of the computer anyway, right? But for simulation software, you need to have another type of software. Okay, and as you can see, we still don't know whether 131 is the lowest total cost or not. That's the disadvantage simulation. Is that you're gonna have to test more and more. But with the computer, it's make it a little easier for us to test. Okay, that makes sense for everybody? Sorry, we're running over time, but I think it's better for us to finish the Excel. Okay, so do you guys have any question or comment? Okay, if not, okay, I have exercise number 2 for you to try. Okay, some of the model you can easily generate construct by yourself. But for question number 4, okay, make sure you start with the sinking inventory model and just make modification. Okay, just start with the model that we learned today. Okay, don't just go out and completely creating it from scratch. It's gonna take way too much time and it's more prone to error. Okay, so let's try it, and then next week I'll go over it with you. Alright? Thank you. So sorry for the delay, but you are free to go.